I want you to picture something. You spend your Saturday morning out in the garden. You fill a trash bag with weeds. Your back is sore, your knees are dirty, your hands are stained. You step back, look at the bed, and for about 30 seconds it looks amazing. And then Tuesday comes, and they're back. This is the trap that almost every gardener falls into. And I am going to get you out of it today. Because here is what nobody tells you. Weeding is not a gardening task. It is a failure of system design. It means something in your garden is inviting weeds in. Bare soil invites weeds. The wrong mulch invites weeds. The wrong plant spacing invites weeds. Pull weeds all day long and you are treating the symptom, not the cause. Today I am giving you 7 strategies, not products, not chemicals, not shortcuts that fail in 2 weeks. 7 actual system-level solutions that make weeding either rare, nearly effortless, or completely unnecessary. Every week you wait is another week of weeds. Another weekend on your knees. Another bag of money spent on plants that struggle because nobody told you what I just told you. This channel exists so that stops happening to you. Subscribe. Turn on the bell. Let me do the research so you can spend your time actually enjoying your garden instead of fighting it. And here is the part that matters. These are layered. You do not have to do all 7. Pick the ones that match your garden, your space, and your situation. But the more of these you combine, the closer you get to a yard that essentially manages itself. We are counting down from 7 to 1. And I promise you, number 1 is the mindset shift that makes everything else click. Stay with me all the way through. Let's get into it. Coming up at number 5. The single most underrated weed prevention material that most gardeners are already throwing in the recycling bin every week. Way number 7. Boiling water, the free instant kill. We are starting at number 7 with something that costs exactly nothing and works faster than any spray bottle product on the market. Boiling water. That is it. That is the whole method. When you pour boiling water directly onto a weed, onto the leaves, into the crown, down into the soil around the roots, it destroys plant cells on contact. Not the leaves. Not just the top growth. The heat penetrates and kills the root system. Within 24 to 48 hours, that weed is brown, collapsed, and finished. No residue. No chemicals. No waiting period before children or pets can go back outside. You already own a kettle. Where it works best. Boiling water is purpose-built for the cracks between patio slabs, the gaps in your paving, the edges of driveways, the joints between brickwork. Anywhere you have hard surfaces with weeds pushing through. It is not a lawn tool. Anywhere near grass or desired plants, you are working with a very unforgiving weapon. Kills everything it touches equally. But in a paved area, it is surgical, precise, and completely free. How to use it. Boil a full kettle. Take it outside immediately while it is still at full temperature. The hotter the water, the deeper it penetrates. Pour slowly and directly. Focus on the crown of the plant, the junction where the stem meets the soil. For larger weeds, use a second pour. One application handles most common patio weeds permanently. Stubborn taprooted weeds like dandelions may need a second treatment after a week. The deeper principle here, and this matters for every strategy on this list. Weeds have one job. Find bare, exposed, unoccupied soil and colonize it. Your job is to deny them that opportunity. Boiling water eliminates the ones that are already there. The 6 methods ahead prevent new ones from getting started. At number 4, I'll show you the plant-based system that experienced gardeners call the single most satisfying weed prevention strategy they've ever implemented. Don't go anywhere. Way number 6. Weed blocker fabric, done right. Number 6. And I need to say the words done right loudly because weed blocker fabric has a reputation problem, and that reputation problem comes entirely from people using it the wrong way. You've probably seen it. thin black fabric under gravel or mulch that somehow has weeds growing all over it within a season. That is low-quality fabric improperly installed, with gaps that invite exactly the problem it was supposed to solve. Here is how weed blocker fabric actually works when you do it correctly. Quality woven fabric, not the flimsy single-use film from the discount bin, is a woven textile that blocks light from reaching the soil beneath it. No light means no photosynthesis. No photosynthesis means no weed germination. The weave is permeable. Water passes through, air passes through, but seeds cannot penetrate and existing weeds beneath it cannot reach light. Critical installation steps that most people skip. Overlap edges by a minimum of 6 inches. A gap is an invitation. Any gap you leave is a weed pathway, and they will find it. Pin it down properly with long landscape staples, not a few scattered rocks. Fabric that lifts or moves creates edges where seeds collect and sprout. Clear the ground first. Chop down any tall existing growth before laying fabric. It will not smother aggressive established weeds that already have deep root systems. It prevents new ones. Cover it. Fabric left exposed breaks down faster in UV light and collects wind-blown seeds on its surface. Lay mulch, gravel, or stone on top, where it excels. Weed blocker is a long-term investment for permanent beds, pathways between growing areas, fruit tree circles, and any space you want weed-free for multiple seasons. Used in pathways, it lets you grow in beds while keeping the walking zones completely clear. It also suppresses existing grass underneath. Lay it over a grassy area and within 6 to 8 weeks, everything beneath it is dead. What it cannot do. It does not eliminate weeds that are already deeply established with vigorous root systems. And weed seeds that land on top of mulch covering the fabric will still germinate in the mulch layer itself. You will still occasionally see surface weeds, but they will be shallow and trivially easy to remove because their roots cannot penetrate the fabric beneath. Number 3 is the strategy that turns other plants into your weed prevention team. It's one of the most elegant gardening concepts that exists. Coming up, way number 5, cardboard and newspaper. Your free secret weapon. Number 5. And this is the one I mentioned in the hook. The material most gardeners are literally throwing in the recycling bin every single week. Cardboard. Plain corrugated cardboard. The boxes your online orders come in, the boxes your grocery store stacks in the back. This material is one of the most effective weed suppression tools in existence. It is free, it is biodegradable, and it actively improves your soil while it works. How it works. Cardboard is thick enough to block light completely. Weed seeds beneath it cannot germinate. Existing shallow-rooted weeds and grass beneath it die within a few weeks. And unlike plastic or fabric, as it breaks down over months, it attracts earthworms in enormous numbers. Earthworms that aerate and enrich your soil as they process the paper fibers. You are suppressing weeds and building better soil simultaneously. The right technique, because detail matters here. Use a minimum of 2 layers. 1 layer is often too thin for tough weeds and grasses. 2 to 3 layers overlapping stops everything. Remove all tape and staples before laying. Tape does not break down. Staples rust. Neither is welcome in your soil. Overlap edges by at least 6 inches, same as fabric. No gaps. Every gap is an escape route. Wet the cardboard thoroughly before adding mulch on top. Wet cardboard stays flat, holds position, and breaks down faster. Dry cardboard can shift and create gaps. Add at least 4 to 5 inches of mulch on top. The mulch holds moisture in the cardboard, accelerates breakdown, and prevents the cardboard from drying out and cracking. The spring new bed technique. This is one of the most powerful ways to start a new growing space without tilling, without digging, without spending a week pulling grass by hand. Lay cardboard directly over grass or weeds. Cover with 4 to 6 inches of quality compost. Plant directly into the compost layer by poking holes through the cardboard. The grass and weeds below die. The cardboard breaks down over the season. By the following spring, your soil beneath is loose, worm-worked, and transformed. Duration. Cardboard typically breaks down within one full growing season in warm, moist conditions, faster in hot, humid climates, slower in dry or cold ones. It is not a permanent solution by itself, but layered with mulch and repeated each season, it creates a continuous cycle of soil improvement and weed suppression that costs you nothing. Number 2 is the reason that garden maintenance can feel like a hamster wheel, and the single change that breaks the cycle permanently. Stay with me. Way number 4. Living mulch. Plants fighting plants. Number 4. And this one requires a small shift in how you think about your garden, but once you see it, it changes everything. What if instead of killing weeds and leaving bare ground, you filled that bare ground with plants that you actually want? Plants that spread, mat, and cover every square inch of exposed soil so that weed seeds simply have nowhere to land and germinate? This is called living mulch. And it is one of the most elegant principles in all of gardening. The concept is simple. Weeds colonize bare soil. The solution is to colonize bare soil yourself, first with plants you have chosen. Low-growing, spreading plants that fill horizontal space form a canopy over the soil surface that blocks light from reaching weed seeds. It is biology working for you instead of against you. What makes a good living mulch plant? Low-growing and spreading habit. It needs to cover horizontal ground, not grow tall. Perennial in your zone, annuals die and leave bare soil, which is an open invitation. Dense enough to genuinely shade the soil surface. Ideally edible or useful double-function plants earn their space twice over. Excellent living mulch options depending on your situation. Creeping thyme. Fragrant, drought-tolerant, handles light foot traffic, covered in small purple flowers in summer. One of the most beautiful functional ground covers that exists. Oregano, spreads readily, edible, handles dry conditions, produces flowers that pollinators absolutely love. Clover, nitrogen-fixing, meaning it feeds the soil around it. Incredibly weed suppressive once established. The bees will thank you. Sweet potato vines, aggressive horizontal coverage in warm climates, edible tubers below ground. Creeping phlox. Spring bloom spectacle, evergreen through winter, spreads steadily and smothers weeds year-round. You do not replace your whole garden at once. Pick one problem area, the difficult strip along the fence, the space under the fruit tree, the slope that is impossible to mulch. Plant your chosen living mulch there. Let it establish for one full season. Watch what happens to the weeds in that space. Then expand the approach to the next area. Within 3 seasons of implementing living mulch in your problem spots, those spots stop being problems entirely. Number 1 is the strategy that connects everything on this list into one system that virtually runs itself. And once you understand it, you will never think about weeds the same way again. It is coming up very soon. Way number 3, deep mulching, the smothering blanket. Number 3, and if I could only give you one tool from this entire list, this might be it. Mulching. But not the light, token dusting of bark chips that people scatter over their beds in spring. I mean deep, thick, properly applied organic mulch, and the difference between the two approaches is not small. It is the difference between a garden that still needs regular weeding and a garden that barely needs any. Here is the science. Weed seeds need light to germinate. They sit in your soil, sometimes for years, waiting for a signal. That signal is sunlight reaching the soil surface. A thick enough layer of mulch blocks that signal completely. The seeds never receive the cue to germinate. They just stay dormant. Indefinitely. How thick is thick enough? 2 inches of mulch is decorative. 3 inches is a start. 4 to 5 inches is where you actually begin suppressing weed germination effectively. 4 to 5 inches of wood chip mulch over properly prepared soil will suppress the vast majority of weed germination for an entire season. This is not theory. It is documented in horticultural research and experienced by every serious gardener who has actually committed to the depth. The free wood chip option. You do not need to buy mulch in bags from the garden center, though bagged mulch works fine. Tree service companies generate enormous volumes of wood chips constantly, and many of them will deliver a truckload to your address at no cost simply to avoid paying to dispose of it. Search for this service in your area, sign up, and within a few weeks you will receive a free delivery of fresh wood chips. 1 truckload can mulch an entire garden. Critical rules for effective mulching. Keep mulch pulled back 1 to 2 inches from the crown of every plant. Mulch against stems holds moisture and causes rot. A small gap around the base of each plant protects it. Do not bury existing weeds and hope the mulch smothers them. Pull or kill surface weeds before mulching. Established perennial weeds with deep root systems will push straight through any mulch layer. Refresh every spring. Mulch breaks down, which is actually beneficial for soil health, but it means the layer thins over time. Top it up annually to maintain depth. Organic mulch only for beds. Gravel and stone mulch has its place, but organic mulch breaks down and improves your soil. It is a long-term investment in soil health, not just weed prevention. Number 2 is the reason weeds seem to come back no matter what you do. Understanding it changes your entire strategy. Way number 2. Eliminate the weed seed bank. Stop the source. Number 2. And this is the one that makes everything else on this list make sense. Here's a fact about your garden soil that most gardeners do not know. There are thousands, sometimes tens of thousands, of weed seeds sitting dormant in every square meter of your soil right now. This is called the seed bank. Seeds that blew in, seeds that fell from plants, seeds that have been there for years or even decades, all of them waiting. Every time you disturb the soil, every time you dig, till, or turn it, you bring those buried seeds to the surface, into the light, and they germinate. This is why weeds seem to return immediately after you remove them. They do not grow back from nothing. You are cultivating them. Every cultivation event is a weed germination event. The 2-part strategy. Part 1. Stop feeding the seed bank. Do not let weeds go to seed. Ever. A single dandelion plant can produce up to 15,000 seeds. One plant, 15,000 seeds, each of which can remain viable in your soil for years. The discipline of removing weeds before they flower and set seed is the single most powerful long-term weed reduction strategy available. It takes time, typically 3 to 5 years of consistent effort. But the seed bank depletes, and after those years, the number of weeds germinating in your garden drops dramatically and permanently. Part 2. Minimize soil disturbance. Practice no-dig or low-dig gardening wherever possible. Instead of turning soil to incorporate amendments, add compost and organic matter on top of the soil surface and let earthworms and soil organisms incorporate it from below. Your soil layers stay undisturbed. The seeds in the deep layers stay in the dark. They do not germinate. The shallow cultivation exception. When you do need to address surface weeds, use a sharp hoe or stirrup hoe with a very shallow cutting motion, no deeper than the top half-inch of soil. You are cutting weeds off at the root crown without bringing deeper seeds to the surface. Hoe on a dry sunny day and leave the severed weeds on the soil surface. They will desiccate and die within hours without needing to be removed. This approach, no dig, shallow cultivation, never letting weeds seed, compounds over years. The garden genuinely gets easier every season. That is the payoff. Number 1 ties every strategy on this list into a system, and it starts before a single weed appears. Stay with me. Way number 1. Right plant, Right place. Design out the weeds. Number 1. And before you say anything, yes, this earns the top spot. Because this is the strategy that makes every other method on this list work better, last longer, and require less ongoing effort from you. The number 1 reason gardens have weed problems is bare soil. And the number 1 cause of bare soil is plants that are not doing their job. Plants in the wrong location, in the wrong conditions, failing to thrive and fill their space. A plant that is genuinely thriving in conditions it was designed for does something valuable. It fills its space. It spreads its foliage. It closes the canopy over the soil around it. It crowds out competition. It leaves no room for weeds to establish. A plant that is struggling because it wants sun and you put it in shade, because it needs drainage and you planted it in clay, because it is fighting conditions that are wrong for it, stays small, stays sparse, leaves gaps. And weeds fill gaps. Every time. Without hesitation. The right plant, right place principle. Before you buy any plant, match its requirements to your actual conditions. Not the conditions you intend to create. Not the conditions you wish you had. Your actual conditions right now. Sun-loving plants in shady spots grow weakly and leave soil exposed. Shade-tolerant plants in those same spots grow dense and crowd everything out. Drought-tolerant plants in wet soil rot and fail. Moisture-loving plants thrive and spread. Plants with the wrong soil pH struggle. The same plant in the right pH grows vigorously and competes. The design implication. Walk your garden and identify every patch of bare soil. Ask yourself, why is this area bare? Is it too shady for what you planted? Too dry? Too wet? Then research plants that genuinely thrive in exactly those conditions and plant them. Dense, vigorous, right-fit plants are the most powerful long-term weed suppressors that exist because they occupy the space permanently. A well-designed garden with appropriate plant selection does not need constant weeding. It manages itself. Combine this with the 6 methods above. Mulch the bare spots that are not yet planted. Lay cardboard under problem areas while you plan what to put there. Use weed blocker in permanent pathways. Use living mulch under trees and in transition zones. Kill surface weeds with boiling water on hard surfaces. Stop tilling and depleting your seed bank. Do all of this simultaneously, even at a small scale, and the momentum builds faster than you expect. Each season, there are fewer weeds. Each season, the garden requires less of you. That is the system. That is the answer. Full recap, your 7 strategies. Way number 7, boiling water. Free, instant, chemical-free kill for patio and paving weeds. Way number 6, weed blocker fabric. Long-term light exclusion for permanent beds and pathways. Way number 5, cardboard and newspaper. Free biodegradable suppression that builds soil as it works. Way number 4, living mulch. Let plants compete for you. Perennial ground cover closes the canopy. Way number 3, deep mulching. 4 to 5 inches of organic mulch blocks the germination light signal. Way number 2, eliminate the seed bank. Stop weeds from setting seed. Stop tilling to stop bringing seeds up. Way number 1, right plant, right place. Thriving plants fill space. Filled space has no room for weeds. Bonus 1, timing is everything. Weed when soil is moist but not waterlogged. In dry soil, roots snap and leave fragments behind that regrow. In wet soil, the entire root system pulls clean. After rain is the ideal moment to hand pull anything that escaped your systems. 30 minutes after rain beats 3 hours in dry conditions. Bonus 2, the stirrup hoe. If you are going to use any hand tool for weed management, make it a stirrup hoe, also called an action hoe or hula hoe. The blade cuts on both the push and pull stroke, works just below the soil surface without deep disturbance, and severs weed seedlings from their roots faster than any other manual tool. Do this early in the season when weeds are still young and shallow. 15 minutes with a stirrup hoe in spring prevents 2 hours of work in summer. Bonus 3. Soil coverage is the goal. Every square inch of your garden has a choice. It is either covered by something you chose, a plant, mulch, cardboard, fabric, or it will be covered by something you did not choose, which is weeds. There is no neutral ground. Make soil coverage a design objective, not an afterthought. When you plan a new bed or refresh an existing one, ask, how is every inch of this soil going to be covered? Bonus 4. Vinegar salt spray for hard surfaces. For patio and paving areas where boiling water is not practical, large areas, persistent regrowth, mix white vinegar, table salt, and a small amount of dish soap. The vinegar breaks down the waxy coating on leaves, the salt dehydrates the plant, and the dish soap acts as a surfactant that helps the mixture adhere. Apply on a warm, dry, calm day directly to weed foliage. Critical warning: never use this mixture near soil or grass. It alters soil chemistry and will prevent anything from growing in that spot for an extended period. Hard surfaces only. Bonus 5. The compounding effect. Everything on this list gets easier over time. The seed bank depletes. The mulch improves your soil. The right plants fill their spaces and crowd out competition. Living mulch spreads. The investment you make this spring pays dividends in reduced maintenance next spring, and the spring after that, and every spring following. This is the opposite of buying annuals every year and weeding every weekend. One thoughtful effort now, years of return. There you have it. 7 strategies to stop pulling weeds and start preventing them, at every level, from the surface of your patio to the design of your entire garden. If even one of these changed how you think about what is actually happening in your garden, why the weeds keep coming back and what you can do about it, do me a quick favor right now. Hit that like button. It helps more gardeners find this content who are fighting the same battle. And drop a comment below. I want to know, which of these 7 are you implementing first? Are you starting with mulch? Trying cardboard over a new bed? Finally going to stop tilling? Tell me. I read every single comment and I genuinely want to know where you are starting. If you are not subscribed yet, this is the moment. We put out practical, accurate garden content every week. Real solutions. No filler. Hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you do not miss anything. See you in the next one.